Hello, my name is Diane Shimoda, and I have the honor of serving as the Adult Literacy Coordinator for the Redlands Adult Literacy Program at A.K. Smiley Public Library. I'm excited to share the 6th volume of Our Stories, a collection of writings by adult learners. I invite you to visit the library to check it out and read this and previous anthologies. They are available in the Adult Literacy Collection. I would like to congratulate the authors who contributed to this year's anthology, the volunteer tutors who assisted them, and the family members who support them every day. Over 24 authors came to the library to read their works for these videos. Their readings were grouped by the chapters found in Our Stories. These chapters reflect major themes in the learners' writings. Each video begins with a listing of the authors who read their stories in that chapter and is followed by their recordings. We hope that in listening to the learners' stories that you will celebrate, as we do, their courage and determination in improving their literacy. You may find that some of the writings will make you smile, and others will cause you to think about the challenges adult learners face. We invite you to take a moment to listen to the wonderful and honest voices of adult learners. Thank you.
My tutor, Helene. I love Helene. She is my tutor. We know each other from the A.K. Smiley Library Literacy Program. We began working together in February 2019. I was super nervous when I met her at the library. I carefully edited my English because I was worried that she wouldn't be able to understand me. I felt that talking with me was a kind of torture for her. But she listened patiently, never interrupting me and never saying, "I don't understand what you mean." When someone says this to me, it killed my confidence that most. I will suddenly feel that my brain is empty. She helps to correct my sentences, and she is good at using pictures and body language to help me understand accurately. Self-confidence is important in the process of learning a language. When I saw Helene could understand the sentences that I put together with my simple words, I feel more comfortable to talk more and more. Besides self-confidence, persistence is also important. We tutored in the library every week. After a period of time, I realized my English was improving, even though I still got a headache when I thought about having to go to the library the next week. Sometimes I even thought of finding an excuse to cancel my tutoring session. But now I'm beginning to feel more relaxed. I have gone from understanding only 10% of my classes to being able to understand almost 90%. It was Helene's positive attitude that kept me from giving up. She continued to urge me to study while she was recovering from some health issue in 2020. During the pandemic, we still tutored by Zoom. Because of this thing, I was one of a few students who received an award for over 100 hours of work to improve literacy throughout the year. Although she didn't work in education before, she's my best teacher. She likes to read books. She has a lot of knowledge about the world. She seems to know everything. When I ask her a question, she can clearly explain the answer quickly. That is not something everyone can do. For example, once my husband took 10 minutes to explain something, but I still didn't understand. It took Helene only 2 sentences to make the answer clear to me. It's not just us. Our 2 families have gotten to know each other also. Helene often discusses some of the content of my studies with her daughter at home, making me feel like I'm one of his family members. When she sees example of Asian hate, she tells me that she cares about my safety, which makes me feel so warm. In my family, she is someone I often talk about. My husband says, "I feel you love Helene more than me." Yes, I do love her. She is intelligent, kind, positive, and optimistic. She had taught me a lot, not only about English, but also life in general. One time, we went to the Redland Sunday market together. She told me that we must buy something because we need to support our city. Otherwise, everyone will not have the enthusiasm to serve and contribute to community life. When I talked about the high crime rate among Black people, she said people of our color do bad things. I love Helene. She's my best friend. I have a dream. I want to visit Singapore with her. I want to be her guide and show her the beautiful country and share the delicious food together. I will be her legs and she will be my mouth. Thank you.
The Good Samaritan. This is a story from about 30 years ago. It touched my heart. I have a flat tire on the freeway at 10 in Tennessee. I left my car, took my son who was 2 years old, and we walked to Coco's. I used a public payphone to call my husband and my neighbor for help. A man was waiting for us outside and offered to help to change the tire on my car. I asked him, "How do you know?" He said, "I follow you because I wanted to help you." I said, "Thank you, but that's okay. I have just called my husband and he's coming soon to fix the car. My neighbor is coming to pick me up because I have to pick up my other children from school." I turned around and said, and to my surprise, the man had already started to change my tire. I went to talk to him and I asked him why he wanted to help me. I offered him some money and he will not take it. Again, I asked him why he wanted to help me. Finally, he said, "I have a daughter and someday when she needs help, somebody will help her." So I remember that my mother always helped people and said the same thing. Maybe someday if you need help, someone will help you. Now that I'm a mother and I think the same way, I help when I can so that someday somebody will help my children. If you do good things will happen to you. I believe in that.
My daughter, my world, my life, my sunshine. When I am with you, I am happy. When I hear your voice, you bring me comfort. My daughter, you are my happiness. When I hug you, I am loving you. I give thanks to God that you sent me a daughter to my life, my only one, a beautiful daughter. When you are smiling, my heart is filled with joy. When I hold your hands, you pull me to a secure and safe place. When I am walking with you, you are the sunshine and the road. When I stand alone, you talk to me and you sing for me. When I cry, you hug me and you say you love me. My daughter, you stand beside me. You guide me to a bright, shining, and never ending peace land. Because of you, I am living in paradise.
Thank you. I am Briserio Roque. I moved here 3 years ago with my husband and my 2 children. The change has been a challenge for everyone, but I think it has been bigger for the 2 little ones. So I want to tell you to thank you. I thought the decision to come here was not yours, and it's complex to understand. As we have told you, we are looking for a better life. You have made a big effort every day to adapt living here. Thank you for being patient on our migratory journey each year. Thank you for understanding that we would be able to bring all our belongings and bring just a few of your favorite toys. I know it was hard to say goodbye our place, our friends, and our family. Thanks for being brave, attending a new school without knowing anyone, without having friends, and without being able to communicate. I remember at first you felt discouraged when you did not reach the level of your class, because you could not understand that the teacher was saying. Now you are very proud to show me your grades. You have done it. I appreciate and celebrate the positive attitude you have towards the challenge that have occurred in our lives. I admire your ability to focus on good things that were happening around you. Seeing you make your best effort every day has been an encouragement. Also, you have new friends. Thanks for showing them respect and tolerance. We have come to live in a multicultural country. Now you understand that we all do things in different ways, and every culture deserves to be honored and preserved. Thank you for conserving our culture, for participating proudly in our traditions, and for continuing to enjoy the meals that our grandparents used to prepare. I am happy to see you enjoy new traditions and fun celebrations too. Thank you for taking every opportunity to learn something new. We can also celebrate you are bilingual because you can speak English and Spanish very well. Thanks for being my personal translator. You are faster and more reliable than Google. I appreciate your teaching me how to pronounce some words. Nocturnal is a big one. You should know that I enjoy that we are learning together. It makes me happy to enjoy when I read your stories in Spanish. It's a way of sharing your oral tradition. I consider our language beautiful, and I am proud of your extensive vocabulary and fluency in Spanish. Thank you for still building family bonds with your grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and friends, because despite the distance, you are sharing your life through calls and messages. The support of our family and old friends has been essential to keeping us here. Their words of advice have been very helpful. Thanks for trusting me with your aspirations, doubts, and fears. Thank you for believing me when I said everything will be okay. I'm grateful because everything that seems like a challenge, you have turned it into a strength. Love, Mom, and I think Dad agrees.
Dylan rescued a dog. Dylan rescued a dog from the street. Dylan is one of my grandchildren. He started college this year and he works part-time. He has a kind heart. He's very intelligent and handsome boy. One morning, he called me and asked me if he could come over to my house. I said yes. 10 minutes later, Dylan arrived at my house with the dog. The dog was a sweet puppy with white and black spots on her fur. The puppy ran away and went to my front yard. We all enjoyed seeing her running and playing. Dylan waited a few minutes and he asked me, my husband and me, if we want to keep her. We didn't say yes, but we told him we can help you to find a new home for the puppy. Dylan was committed to find a good home for the puppy that he rescued. After an hour, Dylan said that his mom didn't want to keep the dog because they already had 2 dogs. He didn't want to take the dog to the animal shelter. I told Dylan to wait, and I will go to ask a few neighbors if they want the dog. I also sent pictures of the dog to some friends and asked them if they want the puppy. Another hour passed, and we couldn't find a new home for the dog. Dylan felt sad. He said, "Don't worry, Grandma. I assured him that I will pray for the puppy not to end up in an animal shelter." When Dylan left, I felt sad too, because for the first time I couldn't help him. During that week, I wondered every day if Dylan already found a home for the dog. I called him and he said, "Mom is helping me. She put an ad on Facebook and we are still waiting for somebody to respond." The next day, Dylan called me and told me that a married couple came and took the dog. They fell in love with the dog. It was a very nice moment when the dog saw them and right away ran towards them. There was a connection. They took the dog and Dylan felt very happy. My daughter and Dylan received an email from the couple a few days later. They named the puppy Vindy and sent pictures of her in her new home. Finally, Vindy was happy and Dylan too, because he found a good home for the dog. The next day, I went to my daughter's home. I saw Dylan and I told him, "Grandpa and I are very happy that Vindy has a nice home. This is an example of your determination and good desire in your heart to find a good home for Vindy. You were persistent in not taking her to an animal shelter. Always remember, you can reach all your goals in your life if you focus and put it in the effort. You never give up no matter what obstacles you confront. Your determination helped the dog to have a new home."
Mom is loving, strong, sure of herself, knows a lot, is honest, always smiling, taught me how to be positive, think for myself, be a force for good, helped me sort out my problems, showed me that I could be smart and strong,
special to me because her love for me.
Life in two countries. This is a story of my two homes. I love Mexico and I love America. I can explain why it is important for me to share my journey between Mexico and America. I was born in a beautiful small town in Mexico, but when I was 3 years old, my whole family moved to Mexico City. Adapting to a big city was interesting. Growing up was a good experience, seeing a lot of people everywhere, riding a subway or even the bus, or even walking almost every day while I was in school. I visited different parks, restaurants, and a flea market. Mexico is very social, and I have many friends. I had the privilege of living in Mexico for a short period of time. I had a wonderful experience growing up there, and I always felt very independent at a young age. I never imagined that my life would change by moving to another country. At first, I was in shock. I was going to leave everything that I knew behind: friends, a school, and a very independent lifestyle. But I had no choice because I was too young to stay by myself. I became sick just thinking of moving to another country. My mom took me to the doctor and he prescribed vitamins. After I got better, my mom and two brothers and I flew to California. It was a big change from one country to another, and I wondered how I was going to adapt to a new life. I started high school right away, but there was a language problem. I did not know how to communicate with everyone. Completing my homework was difficult, and I worried about having to take tests. I did not know how I was going to manage. It was very difficult. I knew for sure that I needed to be strong. After 2 years, I graduated from high school. The graduation ceremony was beautiful. I felt very independent. Yeah, I did it. After the ceremony, all the graduates boarded a bus to Disneyland for Grand 9. Even though I did not officially become a U.S. citizen for a few more years, this experience made me feel no different than the American people I had came to know. I feel that everyone I have encountered has treated me with respect, and I appreciate that they have made me feel welcome in my new second home. I have learned that no matter where you call home, the key is to stay, to learn, and to love and respect each other. And most important of all, that everything is going to be okay. Todo va a estar bien.
Trinity Church in 2002, I started going Sunday school at Trinity Church. Soon after I joined the audition for the worship team at church, we sang like "How Great Is Our God" in front of the congregation. And I recently started to lead the worship team at the church, but I learned that God gave me a gift of music. I started leading worship team and celebrating the Lord. Church is a wonderful thing. I have many friends and families of the Lord at church. I've been part of the church for 20 years. I am a worship leader in Sunday school class. On Sunday, it makes me happy by singing and being part of the church.
going back to my country after 11 years. It was not what I expected. My biggest dream was one day to come back to my hometown and bring my kids to show them where I grew up. Finally, after 11 years, I had the opportunity to go back, but things were very different than I thought. I was in the process of legalizing myself in this country. After waiting a long time, I received an email from immigration with the date of my interview in Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, Mexico. I was so excited. A lot of emotions came to me. I felt so happy and blessed, but at the same time, nervous and scared. We got there 4 days before because I had a couple of appointments before the big day. The day arrived. On that day, I woke up feeling so nervous I could not eat anything. I had my interview at 11:30 a.m. I entered into the offices, looking at everyone in the long line, thinking every person had a different situation, but everyone was hoping to go back home with our families. The wait was over. I walked over the officer who called my name. I remember his strong and scary gaze at me. We had a long interview. He was asking me a lot of questions and details, such as how I entered into the USA and more about my marriage. I tried to relax and to answer all his questions. The officer was trying to confuse me with my own answers. After a long conversation, the officer gave me a blue paper. He didn't say anything else, just have a good day. I wrapped all my documents and I walked out, where my husband was waiting for me. He looked at me and with a huge smile on his face, he asked me, "Ready to go home?" I was so confused. I told him, "I don't know if I can go back home." The officer didn't tell me anything. He just gave me this paper. We read it, but we didn't understand it. So we called the lawyer. After he saw the paper, he told us that we had to look for another sponsor in order to be able to come back to the country. My father-in-law was my sponsor. He was helping me, but also he had sponsored 8 people before me, and his income could not longer sponsor one more person. The lawyer never asked him if he was helping somebody in the past. After the long day, we went to our hotel to rest. We needed to think better because that situation changed all the plans we had. Before leaving the United States, I promised that wherever happened after this interview, we will visit the Basilica de Guadalupe in Mexico City to thank God and the Virgen de Guadalupe for everything. I had to stay in Mexico until my process was completed. My husband had to return home to take care of our 3 children. My youngest was only 3 years old. They needed me, and I needed them. My husband and our kids came to visit me every single weekend. It was very hard for him because he had to work the whole week taking care of the kids and driving all the way to Tijuana just to see me. It was a huge sacrifice for everyone. Sponsoring is a huge responsibility. Finally, my husband's uncle was able to help us. It took me 6 weeks to complete that process. That felt like an eternity. When I received the passport, I didn't say anything to my husband. I went to the border for a short interview to get the stamp to enter legally into that country. I FaceTime him from the border. I showed him my passport. He was very excited and surprised. It was around 9 p.m. Tuesday, and he told me he could not be there until Saturday, but he showed up the next day. After all my struggles, I was home. I want to thank God for allowing me to return home with my family, because not everyone can have that blessing.
My life on a ranch. I have lived 25 years in this country. After moving here from Mexico as a bride for 15 days married. I moved here because my husband got a job as manager in horse ranch. I have never lived in a ranch, although my father owned a ranch in Mexico. For me, it has been difficult because I have feed animals, clean stalls, give medicine, while taking care of my family. We raise son and daughter in this ranch. I have to learn to like and value tranquility that is living here. I will not change anything about living in a ranch. At the moment, I am learning how to make different types of cheeses, and this can be very difficult, but I'm slowly understanding the process. Every morning I wake up and find eggs, sometimes trying because there are too many chickens, although it's a lot of work. I enjoy because I love animals.
Singing at the market was one of the most exciting experiences of my life. My mom sent my sister Gloria and me to the food store to buy cinnamon. It was nighttime. My uncles asked me to sing because they knew I liked singing. I asked them, "What do you want me to sing?" I only knew 3 songs. I sang La Copa Vacía for them, and they gave me some coins. I bought a package of cookies with the money. Then we go back. We were eating the cookies, and my sister asked me for more. I told her to sing. She got angry with me because she was embarrassed to sing. My memory of getting coins to buy cookies is so funny and exciting to me.
When I was a child, my mother made tortillas. When the tortilla was ready, it was soft. She would squish it to make burritos with salt. A few years ago, when my children were 6 and 3 years old, I would sometimes also make tortillas. I remember the burritos that my mother made for me. I made burritos for my children and I offered them. My oldest son tells me, "What is that?" I told him, "A burrito. Try it. My mom used to make them for me when I was little." He told me, "I don't like it. I don't want to eat that." I was surprised that he didn't want to eat that because when I was a child, I really liked it.
Follow your dreams. I am not a quitter. I will find ways to get the answer. I like hiking and camping with my family. I like being outdoors and seeing the sun rise. I am a hard worker. I like to play cards with my parents. I am a happy person. I like to cook. I am a grandfather of a 2-year-old granddaughter. I want to improve my reading skills and writing skills. I am nervous when I have to read in public. It is very hard to live in our world if you do not read. My dream is to improve my reading skills.
My tutoring story. My tutoring journey started in the early 1990s during a period of unemployment. My church in Garden Grove had begun a pilot program offering classes in ESL, English as a Second Language, to Hispanic residents in our community. To occupy my time, I volunteered to become a tutor. The director of the program recognized that I had a unique ability to engage with and relate to her students because I was foreign-born myself. I was born in Indonesia and raised and educated in the Netherlands. In high school, I learned to become fluent in English, French, and German, in addition to my native Dutch language. She encouraged me to contact the Laubach Literacy Program of Orange County. This organization was dedicated to tutoring basic adult literary skills. I attended several training classes with this organization and earned several certificates for working with literacy-challenged adults. The director of Laubach Literacy in Orange County encouraged me to investigate an opportunity with AmeriCorps, a national program to encourage participation in community service programs. The Santa Ana Public Library was seeking participants with AmeriCorps to launch an ESL program in their 3 library branches. I spent 2 years working full-time in Santa Ana's public library system, tutoring students in the Santa Ana School District with math, reading, and homework assistance. When my AmeriCorps obligation was complete, I received a grant to enroll in a degree completion program at a local college in Fullerton. Over the years of my earlier employment experiences, I had taken enough community college courses and accumulated enough credits to transfer to a university. There was a school in Fullerton that had a program for working adults to complete a BS degree in 18 months. That year and a half flew by very fast, and with my BS degree, I was ready to pursue my California teaching credential for adult education. I continued tutoring, but now as a credentialed instructor. I began teaching adult ESL with the Santa Ana School District. This was quite a change from tutoring one-on-one and small groups. I was now teaching a class of up to 35 students. I really enjoyed seeing those students improve their language skills. While still working in Orange County, my wife and I made the decision to move to Riverside, Corona area, about halfway between Garden Grove and Yucaipa, to be nearer to my family. After I moved to Riverside, the commute to Santa Ana was difficult, so I started teaching for the Corona Norco School District and the Riverside Adult School. I retired from teaching in 2010, but resumed tutoring a small group at my church in Corona. In 2017, we moved to Calamasa to be closer to our daughter, who lives in Yucaipa with her family. Shortly after I moved, I began tutoring for the Redlands Library. Our own city library is very small and has no space for tutoring, so I started looking for other nearby libraries. In January of 2022, I began tutoring ESL for the Beaumont Library District. The two libraries keep me pretty busy. My teaching years have helped me become a better tutor. I plan to continue as long as my health allows it.
Pepito Caballero, Castañeda Roque. I am going to tell you a story about a marvelous being that has been with me together, living in countable disaster. He is big and very small. He is chiseled and fat. His ideas are brilliant, but he is the dumbest. And here's a thing that I have accepted. Wherever he encounters now, he will face it with courage in his soul. On his journeys, you can see all the triumphs he collects without surrender. In the world he has traveled, many friends and acquaintances have been scattered here and there. All the energy is with him now, and always will be, making him stronger, all around better. 1,000 problems he has solved, many more he has created. But one thing you know for sure, all is coming from his soul. But let's go back a little. Let me tell you a little bit about Pepito Caballero. He was born in 2015 and has been in many journeys in that time. But don't let this fact fool you. Pepito Caballero is grown up. Well, almost. I must confess he is also a crying baby who throws tantrums time by time. But let's go to the point. You are here to listen a story. And this is the story. Ode. The story I will share is a tribute to something particular. The ode is a poem you must sing. It was created in Greece to transmit stories in time when reading and writing do not exist. This ode in particular is irregular, philosophical, and heroic. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there was a knight that was very talented and famous but still had a lot of things to learn. While the knight was one of his many quests, a beautiful damsel appeared around town and he fell in love with her. That's when everything turned upside down. A new life began, his scores of doubts and worries. Many fears and frowns were coming. What if he isn't smart and handsome? What if he isn't kind and strong? With all these fears and challenges, the knight and maiden lived humble between ghosts, savage cats, and ugly houses. But these difficult things also came with good people who made them strong. The same was when a little knight that filled their hearts with love. He took away all the fears, and that was when the knight discovered he didn't know as much as he thought. The mini knight had become the teacher, so smart and very sharp. Pepito was brave in his own way. He was a handsome little knight who would fill you up with light and love. One day the little knight fell silent because the big knight in the story got lost. During another night, the road to adventure, the big knight and the princess were driving with Pepito when suddenly the car turned over on the road. Pepito was afraid, but everything was okay. Good friends came to help and we moved out from that day. Then, a week later, something happened that turned Pepito wake up. In the same spot that the car had turned over, they saw two crosses. Pepito felt like a ghost, and we knew that we had to be grateful for this life. And then the little princess arrived. Inside, she was already scratching Mo's belly. A lovely tornado, and God, she was very stubborn. Next came another challenge of traveling a drive. Pepito attended another school, got a new job, and left the old one to stay home. All was new. Without friends and without speaking the language, they faced each other with reservation and triumph. The message I leave you is that Pepito Caballero did not win because he was spectacular. The triumph became from the people who support him, his children and his wife, the school teachers, the neighbors, the grandfathers, and even the dog they saved. So here's I say goodbye, and I ask only one thing, that when you do something great, you too must share all you could see to they can grow up in another person's life.
My family tree memories. My name is Sotivi. I was born in a small village in Cambodia. I grew up in a big family. I have 3 brothers and a sister. My house and all my cousins' house was on the same street. It made me feel like I was in a big family. I made a lot of memories with my big family, but I got to know only one set of each set of my grandparents personally. 2 of my grandparents died before I was born. My father's fathers died before I was born. I only heard his story from others. He was a driver for a royal palace. He could speak French, served in World War II, having French, and had many wives. My grandmother on my father's side got married at a young age, 16 years old. She had 7 kids that lived. She became a widow and raised all her children all by herself. She was super strong, smart, and a lot of self-control. Was expert on preparedness, calm, and hardworking. My mother's father was a gamer. He loved playing sports. I did not like him very much because he drank a lot. He asked me to go to the store to get him alcohol every day. Whenever he came to visit us, he would work for my mom's farm. He counted days to see how much he would get paid. My mother's mother, I did not know in person. She also died before I came into this world. She was a farmer as well. She worked hard each day. She had 5 kids. My dad was a fisherman, an electrician, and a cow witch doctor. He helped my mom work on the farm once in a while. Farmers at that time worked with their hands and cows with no technology to help. My dad is super friendly and kind to others. He loves technology. We was the first family to have technology. He could fix anything. He's only finished grade 12 in school. My mom is a housewife. She is the hardest working farmer in the entire village. She has been through a lot. She loves to take care of others. She cooks a lot of food, loves party. She is super patient, strong in physically and mentally, and she has big dreams. I grew up in a better generation, time and place than all my grandparents and my parents did. My mom did not know how to read and write. She sent us all to school.
Our new language. This year, Brees and I have continued our learning journey. In our sessions, we both realize that we talk a lot with our hands. We've discovered it's another form of expression for us, so much so that we can barely talk without an accompanying hand movement.
After one of our learning sessions, while leaving the library, we encountered 2 people using sign language. We both were instantly curious and set out our sign language exploration.
Brees, she read on the internet that sign language is older than any written language. It was used especially with people of different languages because the phonemic utterances between the languages was difficult for each culture to understand. I actually enrolled in an American Sign Language course at Crafton Hills while Brees found an online class in Mexican Sign Language, not Spanish.
We quickly found out that there are as many ways to sign as there are language. Signing can be based on language, region, and or culture.
ASL is basic for American English speakers. However, in a quirky little nuance to that, my ASL instructor has a poster in her class that says, "English is not my first language." Go figure. I think she means that signing has its own rules that don't necessarily align with the rules of speaking English. While sharing what we each have learned, Brees and I found there are many similarities and quite a few differences.
For example, in American Sign Language, yes is two knocks with a closed fist, while in Mexican Sign Language, yes is pinky finger bent down twice. While not, it's pretty much the same tap down ties with the first two fingers. The good thing is that the basic alphabet is essentially the same, so we do have a common place to start with.
Hello in ASL is the flat hand moving forward.
Hola in Mexican language, salud is first two fingers from the forehead.
Friend in ASL is the interlocking index fingers, right over left.
Amigo is right hand claps over left fist.
How are you in ASL? Point your thumbs toward, roll them out. How are you?
¿Cómo estás? In Mexican language is both hands in same position, bring together, rotate and pull down with all fingers pointing in a word cup-like position.
Please, and this is my favorite, is the flat hand making a circle at the chest.
Por favor, both palms together and move twice.
Thank you is the flat chin flipping out. Thank you.
Gracias. It's the middle finger into open left hand.
Or if you're right-handed, this way. And then our very favorite is beans and rice. Beans
and
rice. Rice in ASL is the R finger cupping, and
you have to use A, and it's because arroz. So let's explore communication, language, culture, tradition, celebration, and all the ways that we can honor one another.
It's our hope that we discover that we're not so different, that we really are more alike.
My wonderful short visit to La Paz, Baja California. In 2016, a friend of mine invited me to go to La Paz to a celebration that was going to be held at the city theater. While I was there, I felt excited just by walking on the beach and going in and out the tourist shops. It was a pleasure to eat fresh food and to enjoy seeing the sunset in the evening. I didn't think I could feel happier. After a couple days, my friend and I decided to go whale watching in the bay. I didn't know anything about the whales or the place where we were going, so I was not expecting too much. We went to the boat station to buy tickets to ride the small boat that took us further out in the ocean. The boat operator told us that the whales travel from Antarctica. It takes them about 3 months to get to the bay where the water is warmer and they have their babies. After about 30 minutes, we got there, so the operator stopped the small boat motor. And right away, we could see all the big gray whales near the other boats that arrived earlier. We were told that if we wanted the whales to come to us, we needed to put our hands in the water and move them back and forth to make noise, so the whales could hear it and come over. Indeed, it happened just the way they said. That's when the excitement started. A mama whale and her baby came to us. My friend and I started to say nice, positive words to both of them. The mama whale and her babies swam under and around our boat several times for about 15 to 20 minutes. We were saying things to them like, "Good morning, how are you? You are beautiful. Wow, your baby is big. Are you happy?" It was hard to believe that they were swimming so close to us. I felt very happy to be living in that moment. I could feel the mama whale and her baby's happiness. Then the extra special moment came. While we were keep saying nice words, all of a sudden the mom came out of the water and opened her big mouth. I got scared. She was in front of me. I stood still for a second and I told myself I don't have to be scared. She came up to say good morning. I got closer to touch her face. That was my magical moment. I never imagined that I was going to experience a magical moment. Whale watching turned out to be whale touching.
Walking in the hills. I like to walk in the hills. When I walk, I can meditate, and that gives me peace, and at the same time I can enjoy the beautiful view of the city and my neighbor from the top of the hill. I love to see all the wonders that God created, like the sky, the clouds, the mountains, the snow, and the trees. I like to walk early in the morning when the weather is clear at 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. for an hour and a half or 2 hours. I love to see the new dawn, the sun when it is just beginning to rise behind the mountains. In spring, I enjoy seeing all kinds of wildflowers, especially California poppies and gold fields. I also love seeing beautiful rainbow appearing in the sky after the rain. In spring, I also like to smell the perfume of the flowers and orange blossom. I enjoy feeling the air and breeze on my face, the rain and the snow. And when it is raining and snowing, I like to taste the raindrops and snowflakes melting in my mouth. I love listening to the singing of the birds, the sound of the fountains, and the murmur of streams. All this relaxes me and gives me peace and serenity. These are some of the things that gives me pleasure when I go for a walk.
Many years ago, I was really sick and need to change everything in my life. When I have a day off, I start to hike the Hollywood mountain, which wasn't far from my house. The first time I tried, I could only hike about 5 minutes. I was tried it because I saw that old people and children could hike. The next time I tried, I still was exhausted, but I could hike farther. I decided to hike every day, so I had to wake up early to have more time to practice hiking. It was difficult for me because some routes were more steep and were about 5 miles to top taking me about 2 hours. However, every day I gradually hike step by step. If I was tired, I stopped hiking for a few minutes and drank water. After that, I tried to eat more if I could. It was important that I had self-discipline to hike every morning before I work. I need to see beautiful and amazing views on the top of the mountain, which inspired me to build more confidence and energy. One day I saw a handicapped man who could eye the mountain. I was really surprised and impressed and hoped that I could do the same as this man. I tried to higher and higher up the mountain. Every time I saw him, I said yes and I cried. He was my idol and hero. Sometimes I bought food and water when I was hiking. If I have time, I would take a lot of pictures of beautiful flowers and plants. When I finally went to the highest point, I was so proud of myself because I could do it. The air was so fresh. Then I would meditate for about 20 minutes to calm myself to reduce stress and panic. When I lie down, I felt happy and joyful. In the summertime season, the weather was very hot and I was afraid of heat stroke, yet it was so fantastic and mesmerizing. My body was drained in sweat and sunburn. It made my muscles stronger and filled me with more energy. Every day, many tourists visit the famous Griffith Observatory, where they take beautiful pictures at sunset. There are many routes to hike to the top of the mountain with the variety of gorgeous nature paths. The mountain is impressive. I love to spend a lot of time there because it makes me happy and I observe self-awareness and self-love. I knew that everyone has the same monkey brain and is easily distracted, and hiking helps to concentrate and focus on their minds. One day I decided to hike the Hollywood sign. I knew that I would spend about 8 hours round trip because it was a long distance, about 10 miles from my house. So I prepared everything before I left. I thought it would be challenging and would take a lot of effort. I start out around 8 a.m. and hike about 2 hours to the observatory. I really enjoy seeing the beautiful scenery. Then I hike farther and feel excited and enjoy it. The higher I went, the more stunning I views. Sometimes I meditate and it makes me more relaxed, calm and balanced. Furthermore, the air was so fresh and pure, so it was easy to practice forgiveness and let things go while I feel angry and fearful. I need to see the Hollywood sign closer with my eyes. When I walk along distance and many hours, I saw lots of people walking with their families with the same goal as me. I also saw lots of people that lost houses and people walking their dogs. Finally, I arrived at the Hollywood sign around noon. I was so excited that my mission was complete. I spent about 1 hour taking lots of pictures and enjoying the amazing views before heading down. It was really great memory. I saw a photographer who waiting until the sunset to capture the red, yellow, and orange skies as the sun meets the Hollywood signs, just like a postcard. That day I spent a lot of valuable time. I need to overcome my obstacle and difficult situation by having a new experience. After that, every time when I walk walk up to the top of the Hollywood mountain, I feel happiness, forgiveness, and joy.
Orienteering is for everyone. Some people have a natural awareness of their surroundings. They have a photographic memory and know, along with the 4 cardinal directions, their position in space. If you do not belong to these lucky humans, this story may be helpful to you. Unfortunately, I could easily and in a blink of the eye get lost. Sometimes finding my car in a parking lot or an exit at a big shopping center is a challenge. Once in the evening, I even witnessed how a young woman with a child and a bewildered look on her face was pacing between rows of cars, looking for her car after their soccer game. She was on the verge of crying when I approached her to help. I felt sorry for her, but at the same time relieved that I was not the only one in the need of GPS or a map with the mark "You are here." Several years ago, my husband introduced our children and me to the sport of orienteering, his childhood interest. Orienteering is a sport involving the mind and body. You need to find every checkpoint on a course using a map and a compass. You learn to recognize the terrain, read the map, choose a better route, and even count your steps and watch your pace if you are advanced in orienteering. There are usually several courses offered at each competition that have different lengths and difficulty. Therefore, after becoming familiar with the shortest and easiest course, you may move on to more challenging and physically intensive ones. Although you might know about orienteering as a part of scouting programs or military training, it is a well-known sport in the world. The first orienteering event held in North America was organized in 1941 at Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire, by an Army officer, but regular events started in the 1960s. Orienteering USA, officially known as the United States Orienteering Federation, was founded in 1971. The Los Angeles Orienteering Club, which my family has joined, holds dozens of competitions every year in various locations like Mountain Pinus, Barton Flats, Santa Fe Dam, Vasquez Rocks, and so on. From the very beginning, my family benefited from orienteering. We visited a lot of regional parks and national forests in Southern California and recognized many nice people passionate about orienteering. I'm learning to notice more key objects on my way, and my confidence is growing with practice. My children's skills are progressing amazingly. My 9-year-old daughter is starting to run her courses independently, and my teenager son wins in his youth category. Orienteering encourages all of us to stay in a top physical form to the best of our abilities. My husband and son are competitive on advanced courses, so they need to practice reading maps while running, because comprehending the course is more difficult with increasing speed and heart rate. Also, this sport affects me as a parent. It converts me from a constantly worrying mother to a calm and confident one. I'm aware of my son's ability to create a full 3-dimensional map in his mind with the mark "You are here," whether he is in a regional park or an urban area. Orienteering is an affordable sport that suits any age group and fitness level. It doesn't need anything but a pair of comfortable training shoes, a compass, and an e-stick to punch the controls, but it gives you even more than you might wish. You will have plenty of busy weekends with family and friends in various places. You will never worry about having your workout done because even the recreational course gives you this opportunity. You will find a new passion in your life and maybe a new family to belong to. enjoying nature, sharing similar interests with others, being excited about finding another checkpoint or sometimes the finish line are worthy reasons to start this never-ending adventure. Moving is life, and orienteering is the best way to stay active and alive. If you want to learn more about orienteering, please use the link www.laorienteering.org. Thank you.
Guadaron Island. I went to Mexico to visit my mother. When we arrived at my mother's house, she was happy. I asked for my brother Prisciliano, but she told me that he was on the Guadaron Island with his son and wife. I asked her when they would be sending him some groceries. She told me on Saturday. His children, Reina and Omar, and his son-in-law, Luis, would visit him and bring some. My mother said I could prepare to go. My daughter, Diana, and my niece, Helene, also prepared for the trip. I went to the store and bought meat to make carne asada there on the island. The next day, we drove to the fishing port where Luis lived. Then we put all the groceries and a 5-gallon of water in a small motor boat. We were so happy because we were going to the island. While Luis drove the boat slow and safe, we could see the mangroves, trees, and the birds. It was high tide. We soon arrived at the island. We took the groceries and we walked into the sand dunes to my brother's campsite. Prisito, my brother's son, saw us walking into the sand dunes, so he took his horse to help us with what we brought with us. After a hard walk in the sun, we arrived at the campsite. We were hungry and thirsty because we had walked 30 minutes. Later, I cooked the meat and I had prepared for carne asada, and I made some quesadillas, which we enjoyed with Coca-Cola. We had a happy day with my brother's family. It was 5 p.m., time to come back to my mother's house. We returned to the place where we had left the boat, and the tide was going out, so it was no longer in water. We pulled the boat into the water and start our journey home. Then Luis suggests digging for clams. I agree because I thought that Luis knew the area. Then, as he drove the boat around the island and the tide continued to go out, the boat stopped. The sun was almost down. My brother, who was on the island, heard the boat motor stop, but he didn't pay attention. My nephew wanted to call my sister-in-law Inelva on his phone and tell her that we were stuck in the sand because of the low tide. However, Prisito's cell battery died, so we didn't have communication with nobody. Later, the sun set and it started to get cold and windy. We were wearing life jackets which protect us from the cold wind, but it was so cold that my teeth was chattering and my body was shaking. Also, my tennis shoes were wet. Luis told us to get down between the benches of the boat to keep warm. I was worried because the wind was too cold. Finally, the tide came back and the boat floated again. Now Luis started the motor and drove to the deepest water to get back to the fishing port. I felt afraid. It was a very dark night and it was hard to see. Luis needed to drive between the mangrove trees and he had trouble finding the floating marks showing the way. Finally, he found a path, but we had little gas. At last, we arrived at the fishing port at 1 a.m., almost dead of cold weather. It was unsafe to drive in the middle of the night because of dangerous people on the road. But we needed to get my mother's house. We arrived there at 2 a.m. It was a good trip, but next time we would pay attention on the tide.
No longer home. We all believe that our homes are a place of safety, tranquility, and warmth. A home is like your mother's bosom, to which you turn when you feel afraid. A home is not just a roof and walls. It is more than this. Home can make you feel like a fetus feels in its mother's womb. Can you imagine how hard it is to change your belief about home giving peaceful feeling? I used to think my home was my refuge and a place of safety until I saw the breaking news on TV broadcasting the devastating earthquake in Syria. I saw homes fall on their own people, not caring about the victims being babies, elderly, sick, healthy, poor or rich. I couldn't call those buildings homes anymore. They are just stone houses. My Syrian people have struggled with civil war for over 12 years. In one moment, they forget the pain of these 12 bitter years. That pain was diminished by the shock of the earthquake. At that time, I didn't see the news report as a news. I saw it as a life-changing disaster that befell my Syrian family. At that moment, I felt I had millions of brothers and sisters in danger. The earthquake shook the earth in Syria and shook my heart with grief. As I was thousands of miles away on the other side of the world, my spatial distance from my homeland made me feel heartbroken and helpless at not being able to give support. Forgive me, my Syrian family, because I was not with you to remove rubble from your broken bodies, or give a sip of water to your thirsty lip. If I cannot embrace you with my arms, I will embrace you with my heart, my sisters and brothers.
The accident. On Sunday, February 12, 2003, my husband and I want to go out to celebrate Valentine's Day early. We want to go to the Outback Steakhouse restaurant, but we got into the accident before we got there. I was driving on 4th Street toward Redland Boulevard, and another driver was coming in the opposite direction. The driver wanted to turn left onto the on-ramp for Interstate 10. We both have the green light, but I have the light of way. We both got out of the car after the collision. The other car driver was a woman. She came to my car and apologized to me and my husband. My husband was the passenger in our car. The other car passenger was her teenager son. Thank God nobody was hurt. I was lucky that the other driver had automobile insurance. Police, fire, and EMT officer came. The fire and EMT responded left after we told them that no one was hurt. The police officer took pictures of our driver license and our insurance policy. The police officer has me take a picture of the damage to our car and the license plates of the other car. I asked the police officer for his name and the accident case number. When my husband and I got home, my husband tried to report the accident online, but he was unsuccessful. The next morning, he was able to talk with a representative from the insurance company. He gave her the information about the accident. She gave us the adjuster name that would handle our case. I was still able to drive my car. I took it to the correction shop for a damage estimate on February 16. It took the collection shop about a month to have the estimate for the insurance company. On March 15, I took the car back to the collection shop for repair. The guy at the shop said that it might be finished in 2 weeks. Now, on April 5th, my car is still in the shop. The guy said that he is waiting for a part. Waiting for the part to arrive was stressful. The repair work was complete on May 10, and the next day I picked up my car. The accident was not a good thing for everyone involved. There are a lot of matters to deal with. From now on, I told myself I have to drive more defensively.
Malala. Dear Malala, while I was reading your book, I was immersed in your life. Thank you for letting me be part of your story. The way you wrote your book taught me not only about a culture, but also about your beliefs, your faith. I could see your personal relationship with God, with Allah, in all your expressions. In every word you wrote, I saw how much you care about people, for their present and their future. I could understand the commitment you have with your life's purpose. You put aside your fears, your own struggles in order to pursue your dreams. You found the strength to encourage those who lost their desire to fight along the way. Above all, your attitude of thankfulness to God throughout your journey was the seed to what you achieved. Your book has inspired me to be courageous in any circumstance. I learned from you that we always have the opportunity to read the events of our lives with a constructive view. The maturity you show in your book by accepting the good and the bad in your life is a model for every woman, every girl, every person. The love you had for your parents, for your family, made me realize how important it is to grow up in an environment full of love. You made me think about Corinthians 13, but if I do not have love, I'm nothing. You walk step by step with the love God gave you. In summarizing your words, I start to think about the reason I'm here at this moment, in this city, in this life. I have been thinking about what kind of love I give while I'm serving others. Now, I'm asking myself if I am living the way God had planned for me. I start wondering if I had an impact in someone's life, and if I did, was it positive? I want to live as you have, thinking about giving my best in every step, in every choice, as if it's my last day in this world. Thank you for opening my eyes with love. Sincerely, Alexandra Suarez.